Intake Dual RTA. This is a collaboration between Augvape and Mike Vapes. And if you don't know who Mike Vapes is, you're living under a rock, because he's like
the vape god of gods, of vapor, of RTAs, of RDAs, of just about anything vape.
He's actually another reviewer here on YouTube. This is the Intake RTA Dual, or Intake Dual RTA. This is a 26 millimeter RTA, and it's a dual coil. Now you can use a single coil if you want to, but it's primarily meant for a dual coil build. There is already an Intake RTA out there that is a single coil RTA. So if you're interested more in a restrictive vape that is single coil, then you might want to look into the Intake RTA, which I'll leave the link to that right below. But yeah, so this is 26 millimeters. It holds either 4.2 mils of e-liquid, or the bubble glass is 5.8 milliliters of e-liquid, which for me, the bigger is always the better. So yeah, it also has top airflow. So basically it's virtually leak proof. So if you're new into RTAs and you're looking for a dual coil RTA and you just don't like the ones with the bottom airflow because you're always leaking, this might be something that you're gonna look into. So let's go ahead and go down. I'm gonna show you this thing up close. We're gonna put a build in it, wick it up and everything, and then we're gonna come back on top and we're gonna talk about it. So here we are with the Intake Dual RTA. So here we are with the Intake RTA Dual. This is in the color rainbow. This is a collaboration between Augvape and Mike Vapes. It does say Augvape there, augvape.com. You've got the social media right here. On the back, it's going to give you some kit content and your scratch off authenticity. You're going to get your user manual. You're also going to get this warranty card. So you can go ahead and fill that out, put it aside, and then it's got your warranty policy right there on the card. And then you're going to get this baggie of extras. Inside of here, you're going to get some cotton. These are already pre-cut for you, so you can go ahead and just put them in the RTA after you build it. Some O-rings, 4 extra grub screws, an Allen key, and 2 coils. In addition to that, you're going to get the RTA, you're going to get a spare bubble glass, and then you're also going to get this coil cutting tool. The coil cutting tool is a perfect length. It is 6 millimeters. So if you do have the coily tool itself, which is like this, you can actually use that instead if you don't want to use this. But they do provide you with that. With the RTA, the straight glass holds 4.2 mils of e-liquid. With the bubble glass, it comes out to 5.8 mils of e-liquid. You could probably get about 6 because of the height of this and the fact that it's top fill, but it is listed as 5.8. And then you've got your RTA, the star of the show, which I have to tell you, the rainbow is absolutely phenomenal. I'm actually loving the rainbow on this. On the top, you've got this 810 drip tip. It is sort of like a low profile, but it does have a different type of shape to it. So it's more like a recurve shorty of an 810. You can fit any 810 drip tips in here that you want. It will fit with ease. Just a quarter turn top fill, and then it opens up and it has your gasket right here, and then you're going to fill it from either one of these sides. Now, in addition to that, if you notice, there's like this little notch right there. That little notch is actually so when you're moving your airflow, it's a stopper, but you can take it apart like this to actually clean it. When you go to clean it though, you do want to make sure that that notch is in the place of this space right here so that it'll sit flush. If it's not there, your airflow ring is actually going to be lifted. So if you find that you've got it a little bit lifted, just check for that little notch and making sure that it's right there. And then to put it back on, it does have like that safety lock-in feature, and you just quarter turn and it's all the way on. Again, it does have dual airflow, one on one side, one on the other. Whatever you do to one side does happen to the other, and it is on a stopper. This is a 26 millimeter RTA. It does say Mike Vapes, Augvape right here. It does have a protruding 510, but not really protruding a lot. To take it apart, what you're going to do is just go ahead and unscrew the base like this, and this is going to get you your deck. This is the build deck, and then this is the inside. Now let's look at the star of the show. The star of the show, as you know, the original intake was a single coil RTA. This is a dual coil RTA, but you can use a single coil. In order to use the single coil though, you will need a bigger inner diameter coil, possibly like a 4.5 millimeter inner diameter coil. And then you would just sit it right here. But for a dual coil, you're actually going to have one coil this way and one coil this way. You do have your positive section here, and then you've got your negative section right there. These right here are actually your airflow tubes, and the airflow tubes come from the inside here. If you notice, the airflow is going to come in here, comes around, comes down right there to go into your airflow tubes to come out underneath your coil. which I think is a fantastic idea. That way you don't have to worry about it. Now it does lock into place based off of those, and all you have to do is just put it in and it easily finds that section so that you can screw it down. It's not one of those that it's hard to find. You have to wait for it to clip in. It literally grasps it really, really easy. The threading on here is really smooth compared to others. Now on this, you also have some wicking channels. You've got a wicking channel here and a wicking channel here. Being that they did mill this juice hole or juice flow hole a little bit bigger than normal, it is going to be getting a lot of e-liquid faster. So this is going to wick up your cotton. So in an RTA like this, because of that, the juice flow hole right here, you definitely want to make sure that you've got enough cotton in there. So we're not going to be thinning it out like we do on some RTAs. This one's going to take a little bit more cotton. That way you don't flood it. And you don't have to, it's only gonna, flooding it is not making it leak. Flooding it is where it's gonna be really, really gurgly and not a comfortable vape. So you do wanna make sure that you've got a substantial amount, but then again, not too much. Now, the good thing with this is that if you do have, say for instance, you do have too much, the way that this RTA is made, you can actually just turn it upside down, take off the base, take off a little bit of your cotton and then put it back in, which is something that I really like in an RTA. Being able to do a build or change your cotton and things like that while there is still juice in the atomizer is key for me. So let's go ahead and put this on a mod and put a build in it. Now we do have it does have 4 grub screws right here. And when you open them up, if you notice, the one thing that I have to mention this issue is these holes, being that this deck is so small, it looks big on camera, but it's really small. These holes are kind of small. So you're not going to be able to get your beefy builds in there, but something like a fused Clapton, maybe an Alien you can do, but anything really, really exotic, you're really not going to be able to fit in here because of the size of the holes. So I do want to warn you about that. But they do open up really, really easy. As you notice, it's opening up. There's no grinding and no crunching, which I really, really like. I do not like it when you go to unscrew something or take out one of the screws and it's grinding or it feels like it's in crooked. These were really put in very well. So I know that it comes with coils already, but I absolutely love my fused Claptons. I get these from coilclout.com. If you use the code Wendy, you get 15% off, and they have all different types of coils for you. And these are actually my favorite. These are the ones that I use the majority of the time for most of my builds. So I'm just going to get 2 of the coils out to use. And they also have the coily tool. So if you were looking to get like coils and maybe like a coily tool, you can actually get them at coilclout.com. So now what I'm going to do is, we already know that the measurement for the coils is going to be 6 millimeters. So I'm going to use this. This is actually going to aid me in cutting my coils. All you need to do is put this in here like this, and then you clip it. So we've got our coils clipped. And then what I like to do is take my coil and I place it on a screwdriver just to help me place the coil, but it's not for anything else, just to get it in the holes. Now, if you notice, these holes are really, really close together. So like I said, an exotic build is not really going to fit well in here because of the fact that it's going to take up more space in those holes. So you do want to worry about that. I'm just going to turn this around, hold it down, and go ahead and screw those in. Tighten that one. And then tighten this one down. Okay, take out my screwdriver and I'll position them once I've got both in. And then we'll go ahead and put this one in. There we go, push that one down, hold it with my finger and just go ahead and tighten this. And then tighten this one. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and straighten out the coils. Now what you want to be careful of, these are 3 millimeter inner diameter coils. A 2.5 is going to fit in here great with a lot of room, but I do prefer the 3 millimeter inner diameters. You do want to make sure that your coils are not touching each other, and they also cannot touch the posts themselves either. And we're just going to space them out just a little bit. I'm going to put this over just a little bit and this one away from the wall just a little bit. Closer to the other coil, but not touching. You definitely want to make sure that they're not touching. And there we go. It's as easy as that for the build. So let's go ahead and start heating up our coils, and we're about to start wicking it. So we're gonna go ahead and just start lightly pulsing until they start glowing. And what I sometimes do, and you'll probably see this in a number of videos, is I do like to pull them apart just a little bit. And what this does is it gives them just a little bit of space so that they heat up a little bit quicker. And then you can also pinch them together, because what we want to do is get them to heat up evenly, and we also want to take out any hot spots. Okay, I'm starting to heat up, and you can pulse this one. Gonna push them together. See those little lightning bolts? Those are considered hot spots, so you definitely want to get those out. Sometimes you can just lightly strum them. It sounds harder on camera, but it's really not. It is very, very light the way that it's being strummed. And pull it out just a little bit. Okay, starting to heat up nicely. This one's got some hot spots in it. See those lightning bolts? We definitely want those lightning bolts out. It's actually heating up evenly. Okay, and there we go. We've got them glowing evenly from the inside out. So I'm going to go ahead and let that cool down for a second, then we'll wick it right up. And for today, I'm going to be using some Kendo Vape Cotton Gold Edition. So I've gone ahead and torn off a piece. So I'll go ahead and start working with that. Okay, so I've gone ahead and just twisted up my cotton. So we're going to go ahead and put that. So we're going to put that through the coils. So like this. Pull it through. All right. So you've got it snug in there. It's not too tight. Okay, and get them right there nice and even. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and just lightly fluff. I'm not going to fluff them a lot. I'm just going to lightly fluff it just to make sure that it's fluffy. And the same, but I'm not pulling any cotton out. I'm just fluffing it up because I do want it fluffy. The fluffier that it is, the better it's going to actually pull your juice, and it'll soak it up better. And then what I'm going to do is right at the deck itself, I'm just going to line it up right there, and I'm going to cut right here, right on this. I'm just pressing it right on the O-ring. And then I'm going to do it right here as well. Literally lining it up with the O-ring. And now we've got our fluffy cotton, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it right in the juice well, or the wicking channel. Just go ahead and put it right in there. And then do the same thing to the other side. You need to make sure, because it does have a really open juice flow. And this will keep it in there like that. There we go. Okay, so for the juice for today, what I'm actually going to be using is my, where is it? I'm going to be using my frosted cookie, and this is actually from Tasty Waves. It's one of my favorite flavors that I've gotten from them. They're currently on Facebook. It's Tasty Waves. It's like a group, but they also do e-liquids. And I've got a couple reviews already out for them. I just got some new ones in. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn this up a little bit, and then we're going to pulse it as I drip cotton. So that way we want to saturate the cotton within the coils. We don't want the coils to be without juice in between them. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some on there, lightly pulse. This will prevent any type of like a break-in time for your cotton, or any type of cottony taste or anything like that. It's going to actually absorb it from within the coil first. So that way you don't have to worry about it. And it does work. It really does. And then just wet the legs like that and vapor. So now all we need to do is go ahead and put on the top cap. I've already changed out the bubble glass. So the bubble glass is on here already. And another great feature, I don't have to take it off. That's all you have to do. Did you see how easy that was? That is definitely another important key to this. You don't have to take off the base to put the top on. So that's definitely a plus. So let's go ahead and open up the top and fill it up. Again, with the bubble glass, it is supposed to hold 5.8 mils of e-liquid, but usually that's like up to like right here. Being that it's top fill, you can fill it more. I tend to just fill it up to the rim. That's just the way that I do it. But you're welcome to do it any way you want. Quarter turn, that's done. It's wide open. So let's go ahead and take this Intake RTA Dual. Up top, we're gonna take a vape and I'll give you my thoughts about it. The Intake Dual RTA, and before anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and have a vape and then we're gonna talk more about it. Do you hear that airflow? Really smooth and no gurgling. 26 millimeters is perfect for an RTA for me. I absolutely love that. It gives you a little bit more room on the build deck because the atomizer itself is bigger. So I definitely like that. Dual coil is more my preferred type of RTA than a single coil. So this is more my style than the original Intake RTA. The original Intake RTA had a more restrictive vape and it was a single coil RTA, which it was very popular with a lot of people. But for me, I really like a more airy vape and this gives it. It does have the top airflow. So of course that's going to prevent any type of leaking because unless you tip it upside down, and I don't even know how you would do it, but you can get it to leak if you try to make it leak. But in all actuality, it will not leak. It does have the postless style build deck. To me, I much prefer postless style. If anybody knows me, they know that I'm more of a postless style girl than any of the other styles. I don't like the raised up postless and things like that. I absolutely love this one. Having the airflow channels come down from the airflow down the sides into those little tubes and then hitting right underneath the coil definitely gives it amazing flavor. So I have to tell you that I absolutely love the flavor of this. Now it does come in 4 colors: stainless steel, gunmetal, matte black, and rainbow. I do have the rainbow one, and this rainbow is really, really hot. Absolutely loving it. One thing about the build and the wick. So when you build it, use the size, the dimensions that we're given, which if you use the little tool, coil cutting tool that they provided, you can use that. It's a 6 millimeter. But if you do have a coily tool, which I always have on hand, is my favorite coily tool. This you can use for anything. You don't have to have it specific. So this is really a good thing to have. 6 millimeters on that, perfect height. It's not too low, it's not too high. The airflow is coming in right underneath the coils and hitting the bottom of the coil, so it's absolutely great flavor. Now, the one thing I do want to tell you is the wicking. Wicking to me is key. I'm literally known as like the queen of wicking, and I'm going to tell you, if you wick it like I'm telling you, you're going to have absolutely an amazing vape experience. First of all, do not be chintzy with your cotton. You want to make sure that your cotton is really, really in there. You're not going to pack it where, you know, it's stiff, but you do have to have it a lot of cotton. If you do not have a lot of cotton, you will flood it. When flooding it, you might get some spit back. You might get some e-liquid in your mouth. I like to take an RTA when I first get it and I build it, or I wick it a few different ways to see the best way that it wicks. Honestly, in this one, more is perfect. So make sure that you're not thinning them out. I would just fluff them up and just keep going. If you have any of the shoestring type of cotton, then those are really good and easy to use as well. Cutting it right on where the deck is, like where that O-ring is, right on the bottom of the deck, is absolutely perfect for me. And that it fits in there, it's not going to flood at all, and it literally wicks very, very efficiently. Very, very key to that. Another key to that is making sure that you have enough cotton within your coils. If you don't, you might get a little bit of like a noisier vape, like a crackling vape, or you can also get spit back. So always making sure that your cotton is snug in your coils is also another little helpful advice for you when it comes to wicking. I love builds. I love RTAs. RTAs have been my thing for over 3-4 years now. Absolutely love RTAs, and this is no different. This one, I will be totally honest with you, is more my style than the original Intake. The original Intake was really, really good, but it wasn't my style. It wasn't an everyday tank for me or an everyday RTA for me. This is more my style. I love the airflow. You hear it? The airflow is really, really nice. It would be perfect if it had just a little bit more airflow, but as it stands, the way that it is, and for this size and the way that the build deck is and everything, it actually matches it perfectly. It's not too airy, but it's not too restrictive, which that is key for me. I'm getting clouds, I'm getting flavor, and I'm getting airflow. So those are the three things that I look for in an RTA, as well as an easy to build deck and pretty easy to wick. Again, it's not really finicky as long as you put enough cotton in those channels. It's very, very important, and it is key to wicking this. If you have any problems with that, just leave comments down below and I'll always answer you, or you can message me on any of my social media. But if you do it the way that I'm telling you, you're gonna have absolutely no problem. Great flavor and a great vape experience. Now, that leads me to my cons, which are not really cons, they're more of subjective cons. The first con I have to say is that the holes for your coil legs are really small. It doesn't bother me because of the type of coils that I use. I use fused Claptons primarily, but if you're trying to use a really, really big alien, it's not gonna fit. If you're using a regular sized alien, you're probably gonna be okay with it, but it's gonna be a really tight fit. 3 millimeters is the max that I would use on this build deck because there's really not enough room for anything bigger than 3 millimeters, to be honest with you. 2.5 is good, but I always like 3 millimeters, so this is absolutely perfect for me. Postless build deck, very, very easy to build. As long as you get your legs cut at the length that is suggested, you're gonna be fine. It's not too short and not too tall. Now you can always mess with it and do what you wanna do with it, but for me, that's absolutely perfect. The airflow on this, I do like the top airflow on this device. I'm not a top airflow kind of girl. I really do like more bottom airflow, but the way that this is going down from the top and it's going into those little tubes and then getting under the coil, it's actually giving me a really, really great flavor. So I really like that. There are some out there that I'm just like, it's okay. It's not bad, but it's just not for me. And this is more for me. So this one, for me, in my opinion, and my vape, the way that I vape, I really like this one. And I'm not saying it because, you know, it's Mike, because I'm very honest over here. Another thing I'm going to tell you is the fact that you can use a single coil, but if you do, again, you have to have enough cotton in there. Being that you have a single coil, sometimes it's harder to do on a device like, or an atomizer like this, only because you're limited to the amount of cotton. Whatever you can fit through is about the only amount of cotton that you can use to put in those wicking channels. For this one, I would suggest sticking with dual coils, in my personal opinion. Another subjective con is the fact that it didn't come with another drip tip. Now, there's nothing wrong with this drip tip. I do like this drip tip. I like the recurve drip tip, but I would have liked it a little bit taller. Or at least a second drip tip so that I can actually change it out. Now, I do have 1,000 drip tips, so it's not really bothering me, but I would have liked that option. Another one is going to be no 510 drip tip adapter. For something like this that isn't an RTA style and it's got the top airflow and everything, for me it feels like it might be for those that like to use 510 drip tips. Now, if you have any other atomizer like this that has an 810 size, you can actually use any other 510 drip tip adapter and it will fit this because it's an 810 size. So you should be fine, but I would have liked to have seen it included. Now, more pros on this is the fact that they give you not just coils, not just extra screws, but they also gave you 2 strips of cotton. So it basically gets you ready to get started. Like, there's no reason other than juice for you to not be able to get this started right out the box. So I do like, well, after washing it, of course, but right out the box, you can actually start putting the coils in and everything else, because they do give you the coils, they give you the grub screws, the Allen key, everything that you need for this device. Now, for me, this is definitely a 2 thumbs up. In RTAs. I'm an RTA queen. I absolutely love RTAs, and this is definitely one of those that have bumped up, in my opinion, the way that I use it. Lots of clouds, lots of flavor, lots of airflow. Not super airy, but it's got a lot of airflow. It really does. I absolutely love it. That's the way that I like to vape, and that's the way that I like. They did send this to me for the purpose of this review. It does not change my opinion. I'm very honest on this. On the intake, the original intake, it was great, but it wasn't my style. This is more for my style. Everybody has their own styles, more restrictive, more airy. This is definitely for somebody who was looking for like the intake style or an intake RTA, but with more airflow and dual coils, which is a lot of us were requesting. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for my review. If you like the review, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and let me know, what do you think about this? And if you have the original intake, Is this something that you would like, a dual coil versus the single coil, or would you rock both of them? So leave me that in the comments and I will talk to you in the next one.